generally the best investment you can make is that investment in yourself
100%.
because the returns are unlimited. There's no limit to the returns that you can make. So
for me, I've always loved business, right? And I've always known I would go into business aside from music. So 2017, I set up like my first business. That was like a music company. So run a studio, do like musical tuition, like young kids and all of that. I've never really been a fan of buy-to-lets. People do them, nothing against them, but just for me, it wasn't it. So I was like, HMOs, that's where I want to like park on.
welcome back to a brand new episode of the Property by Kazy podcast. As you know, each and every week we got a special guest, and I'm joined by Stephen, aka the Drummerboy. And if you don't know, get to know, you're gonna get to know all about him today. But before we give you your formal introduction, let's just get the housekeeping out of the way. You know, it's YouTube, you know, you gotta subscribe, you know, you gotta like it, and you know, those post notifications have gotta be on. Because otherwise, how else are you gonna find out about the amazing guests we're on every week? But without further ado, Stephen, you want to introduce yourself? Why did they call you the Drummerboy?
They just randomly called me that, innit?
Was you rough? Like in school, you was giving knocks?
I wish.
Hold on, before we get into the rest of the podcast, a quick note from our sponsors, London Mortgage Solutions, our tried, tested and recommended property finance brokerage. Whether you're looking for bridging finance, buy-to-let mortgages or commercial mortgages, these guys have got it all covered and will give you great advice. They can also arrange both residential and life insurance. They've helped myself as well as many of my listeners already. So if you want to find out how they can help you, click the link in the description below.
But so the name comes from, I'm a drummer. So that's predominantly what I am. I play in a band called The Composers. Yeah, so I've been doing that for almost 10 years.
10 years?
Almost 10 years. But obviously prior to that, I was always playing drums, so the name just came like.
Where did it, like, was it school? Was it in like church? Like, where did you come from playing the drums?
Predominantly church. So like, I'd say it's a gift. Like I was literally born with it. So from like 3 years old, I was always like playing like pots and pans in the house to be set up as drums, and then.
We're gonna move on to that properly, but I'm just thinking, now that you're in property, do you, because most of my tenancies have clauses about playing drums at a certain time. Do you feel like potentially you're in a field now that's counterproductive to the growth of your own artists?
What's funny, yeah? I had a tenant that moved in one of my rent-to-rents, and then when I obviously I came back to like make sure like he's all cool. And then like there was a pair of drumsticks there, and I was like, "What, you play?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, I pray this guy doesn't start like annoying everyone with this thing, because I know how annoying that would be.
And also it's weird because you almost can't be that guy.
Yeah, I can't.
How can you be the Drummerboy? You find your socials that you can't drum.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
was funny. But nah, do you know what? I took the drums out my house, you know?
Yeah.
I got to a point when I just started getting very busy with it outside. I was like, when I come home,
you want it to be different. You want to have that work-life balance and compartmentalize.
Exactly.
That's good. But I feel like, you know, you said, for people that don't know who the Composers are, you said that I'm in this little band called the Composers. Like you tried to do the humble one. Talk your talk. Tell me a little bit more about the Composers.
Yeah, we kicked off 2013. We started, before that we was all boys, so we was always like, everyone was kind of each other's first pick. So like, let's say you was an artist, you'd hit me up. Oh, yo, Steve, like I need a band to do this show. And I'd be like, all right, cool. So I'd call the rest of them. And then that's how we all start doing it. And then 2013, we was just like, in the urban scene, like bands are always in the back, but there's never been a band like at the front. So when you think of bands like in the forefront, you think of like the Beatles, U2, Oasis, Red Hot Chili Peppers, all these guys. And we was kind of like, let's bring that to our scene. So at the time, it was obviously none of us sing or whatever. So it was kind of like, okay.
I've seen it. You sing a little bit, by the way. Yeah, little small sing.
I'm not a singer. But it was like, what are we gonna do? So, and then our manager, who's our boy as well, we just came up with this concept of just live renditions of songs. So I promise you, like up until this day, like sometimes we're still like, how the hell did we get here? Because at that time it was just like we're just winging it, literally. We're just literally trying to take and see how far it goes, and it just blew up because I think the timing was perfect.
The timing was
literally
right
because it was at the time when social media was becoming a thing.
It was massive.
So any little thing, just like, oh my gosh, what's this, what's that? So it's like we our first show was a show we put on ourselves. So it was on a boat. It was like a boat party. We did that. That was just like friends and family. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, you lot are so good. Like, and it's like, oh, thanks, man. Like, and then we got a call to do a show, and then from there it just went crazy.
Because that's the thing, though. So I think obviously this is the Property by Kazy podcast. So the hint is in the name that it's property related, but one of the best investments you can make, or not one of the, generally the best investment you can make is that investment in yourself 100%. Because the returns are unlimited. There's no limit to the returns that you can make. So the fact that, you know, I think the transition of when you look at, okay, how can you be successful in property versus how can you be successful in business or in life or in relationships, it's that you have to look at your skill set, look at what you've got to put in and how you can maximize it.
Definitely.
So obviously you started working with friends, so with people that have a vested interest to see you do well. But also, like you said, it wasn't just a case of, you know, let's just pick a friend. It was like, let's pick someone that I actually know, like compliments me, I compliment them.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm even realizing now, like, even, it sounds dumb, but even like how everyone looks, it all plays a part into what
because optics of how it looks.
Literally, like, if everyone wasn't like a good looking guy, like, or like knew how to carry themselves a certain way.
So you know, like, they're all good looking?
Yeah, they're all good looking brothers.
Is there someone that's better? The way you said, like you said, you was consciously aware.
I mean, I must be the worst because they're all married now, innit? So I must be the...
Well, you know, we got, you know what I mean?
But like, no, literally, like, I think we've... Literally what you're saying, like how we all work just complements each other, because it's like, obviously even now, like everyone's in like different spaces in life, but it's almost like, okay, this person knows how to cover this person if this one's doing this, and just keep everything running. So that's definitely key.
And then the next thing that I was going to touch on is that not just then that investment in yourself. So if really early on you said, you know, we're chasing the money in terms of we need a payday. We need a payday, you wouldn't have put on your own event.
No
so
chance.
if you took an early on payday, that would have established your price point. This 100%. Is how much, and this is what we're doing it for.
Definitely.
And it could have been great, but it also means that it could have very easily not have got to where it is, because you established a price point. You end up doing stuff for the money as opposed to for the experience, for the, you know, for an element of exposure.
And I think that's with anything, like, anything I've even done in my life. Like, I've tried so many different things, and it's like anything I went in with just, I want to make money out of this. The reality is, when you stop making money or you don't make money,
you lose interest.
You're not interested. So for us, it was like, it's mad. Like, I'll be honest, and I'm a very honest person on camera. I've done it for almost 10 years, but I probably started making proper money from it all of like 2.5, 3 years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, there was money coming in dribs and drabs.
But also because you're a group.
Exactly.
It's not the same when it's split 5 ways. 20% is different to 100%.
And there's literally 5 people. So managerial cuts is 20%, up to 20%, but he's our friend, so we give him 20%. So it's literally split equally. So, you know, for a long time, like, it was just always reinvesting back into what we're doing, just to, like I'm saying, you know, we did the boat party, cool. Didn't make any money out of that. Did one show, probably around that time got paid, I don't even think $1,000. Like literally, imagine that, $1,000 between 5 people. You even get that. But
and you got to get there, you got overheads, you got, you know.
We're going home in a minus,
and you got stuff that you're missing out on every time you go there.
Exactly, because
you're potentially losing out on money.
At that time too, I'm now transitioning from getting phone calls to play for other people, because I need to be committed to my band. So it's like, I could do this other thing, make like a bit of money over there, but I got to cancel it. And it's just like, oh, like, you need the money, but it's like, what you're building here is going to be greater in a few years. So it's just about like this same principle, like everyone says, that longevity, like, can you stick it out? Can you roll with the punches, the bad days, the storms? Because, bro, anyone that does music will tell you.
I think it extends beyond music to you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
so
literally.
You're an entrepreneur that has added like spanner in the works of being in the
100%,
creative arts.
exactly.
But being an entrepreneur,
No, it's literally the same
it's
thing.
every day is like one step forward, 2 steps back, 5 steps
I'll say
forward,
10.
100 steps back. You just never know.
And
which
it's
way
mad
gonna
because
go.
now, like we were just talking about before, like now you look at Instagram, and I always say Instagram is a controlled platform. I can choose to post what I want to post. So you can never look at, like, I mean, I get all the time, like people go on my Instagram and like
They see you on the jet.
Yeah, not the jet.
There's a jet. Like there's a jet. Insert jet here, boy.
But even with the jet, like, see me, one thing I vowed to myself is I'm gonna always be transparent with how these things play out. Do you know? And it was the most. I swear, it happened in like 2 hours. In like 2 hours, I was just on the jet from can you get here? Yeah, all right, cool. Send me the jet. And I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on? But I'm never gonna. One thing about me, I literally remember putting on my snap. I was like, listen, I'm not about to act like I've done this before. I'm not about to act like this is normal. So I'm gonna, if I'm snapping the whole flight, like, so
just bear with me.
Yeah, just bear with me. I'm on a jet, eating whatever food I want to eat. There's drinks there. I don't even have to show a passport. Like, I'm just like, what the hell's happening? Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like I'm saying, because that's like the best parts of your life you're showing.
Yeah.
People, I promise you, when I came, so I got that jet in Nigeria, and then I went from Lagos to Abuja, and then I went from Lagos, I went back to Lagos, then to Ghana. And when I went to Ghana, everyone's like, what, did you bring the jet? Did you bring the jet? I'm like, bruv, like, I didn't even pay for the jet. I can't even pay for the jet. So it's like everyone immediately thinks, okay, this is your life now. Do you know what I'm saying? And then you, even with property, for example, like you post a bit of property, everyone thinks you're loaded now. Like, I'm just like, what do you guys think this is? Do you know what I'm saying?
That's just the difference between, you know, perception versus reality. And obviously, Instagram, like is a sort of focal point, but social media as a whole is a snapshot of
literally
the best parts of your life,
Yeah.
or the most, you know, picturesque parts of your life. They might, and a lot of the time, they're not actually the best parts. The people are posting stuff where they're having no fun, but it looks good.
Yeah.
But you know, that is what it is. But you kind of, your Instagram, you focus around a lot of obviously what you do work-wise. But the reason we've got you here today is because you've also gone into property.
Yeah.
And I want to, actually, before I go on to understanding why you went into property, before we do that, no more digs, I promise. That was just fun. But I just because I've seen you've had so many fun experiences through the composers. What have been, like, you don't have to pick a favorite one, but just some of your most enjoyable like moments or some of your favorite shows that you've done or been part of?
The jet was definitely one. That was definitely one. Being on a private jet. Literally, I felt, all that came to mind was the Cryptocon about, have you ever had McDonald's on a G4? It was KFC on the jet. Like, I was like, this is mad. Like, but yeah, the jet, I would say, I'd say like the O2 Arena shows I've done. I've done two. I've done 3 O2 Arena shows, but I did 2 with David O. Those were amazing because those were like very pivotal things in like the band. Doing Mo the Comedian show on Channel 4, that was amazing. He just won another BAFTA for it as well, which is amazing. So that's been sick. Bro, do you know what? So much happens. It's so hard. But even like our shows as well, like A Night with the Composers, like
your stuff, like
that's just always mad to see sometimes, like how many people like come to this show. Like it's very crazy, and it's like.
And I think like seeing them and seeing the reception you get, and when you actually get to see your peers and your friends doing stuff that's amazing, it's that I do say that I feel like we should normalize being like fans of our friends and celebrating the good stuff that we're doing. And then more so the fact that you've had all of this success and it's, you know, it's increased exponentially recently. The fact that, why do you still want to invest in property or get involved in property?
So with property, it's something I've always known I want to do. Like, it's just that thing, like, invest in real estate, buy houses. You know, my dad's like, buy houses. But I guess for me, I've always loved business, right? And I've always known I would go into business aside from music. So 2017, I set up like my first business. That was like a music company. So run a studio, do like musical tuition, like young kids and all of that. And then with property now, I didn't know what I know now about property. So what I knew of property and what I knew I was gonna do was, okay, I'm gonna hit a big bag in music, and then I'm just gonna buy loads of houses, like literally the house here, house here, house here, house here, and then I quickly realized that's not how life works. Like it don't really work like that. So I got to a point where, like I'm saying, like music was good, but as I'm getting older, you know, responsibilities are changing. There's things I want to do. The money's all right, but it's like, and music is an industry where like I've done stuff from last year that I haven't even been paid for. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's not like every day you get this.
That's a lot of months.
Bro, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know you got some music friends, bro, they'll tell you the same thing. Like sometimes years, like you're waiting for money to clear, and it's just like, I got to a point where I was like, all right, cool. I don't want to fall out of love, because I've seen it a lot. People fall out of love for music because
it wasn't for the money.
Exactly.
Money does make things tick.
Exactly.
Keeps the lights on.
There's bills to pay, you know. So I was just kind of like, all right, cool. What can I do? Like, what can I do to generate more income? Like, and the way of music, you get big money in chunks. So I was like, all right, cool. I can just sacrifice this chunk and do this. So in 2019, like, the idea of, I remember I had a friend, like he's like a big brother, he was in property, and he was buying up in Liverpool. He's like, yeah, Liverpool's cheap, man, like 40k, 50k, you can get a house. And I was like, okay, cool, like I could do this. Like, so that was my plan. COVID really showed me that's not gonna happen. So I had a space in my house, a garage, and when I was younger, the plan was to always turn that into a studio, a music studio. And then as I got older, set up that business, then I got an actual studio, and then, like I was saying to you earlier, I was just like, when I'm at home, I didn't want to think about music. So I was like, what can I do with this space? And then the idea of, why don't I add another room to the house came, and I was like, let me do that then. So I literally cleared out the garage and literally converted that space into a studio bedroom.
Okay.
Which was, like, it was so fun. Like the process was just so fun, like having a builder do it. So that was like my first step into it. So like I'm asking like guys that I know that do property. I'm like, oh, do you have a builder you could recommend? So I've got this builder now. I still work with him today even.
That's good.
On stuff. And yeah, he did that, and I was just like, okay, this is really fun.
Because I think the thing about property for a lot of people is that just the idea of the transformation and seeing it.
It's so idiotically satisfying, yeah, just watching, like,
it's one of the reasons why property content, even if you're not a property person,
you love it,
does so well on the socials.
Even where we are right now, you see, I walked in, I was like, this is, like, I would have loved to see, I'd have loved to see what it was like before.
Dora, I'll show you the before.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
after.
when you see like the green carpet, dusty carpet, and all of that. So, yeah, no, honestly, like, I was one of those people. I just loved the consumption of that content. Like, I just loved it. So, yeah, literally, I did that. And I was like, man, I need to do more. Like, I want to do more on a bigger scale, because I think property it's about how creative you can be with a space. Like, you can see a space, all right, cool, what can I... So literally, as that room is now, I promise you, I literally saw it. I saw the bed here, the TV here, wardrobe here, desk here. Like, I just saw it.
I think when you get the bug, like, you'll find, I don't know, you know, on an iPhone, you can do the markup stuff.
Yeah.
You be taking floor plans and just rubbing little bits out. But if you're a Photoshop guy, you'll start Photoshopping. And if you can't do that, you're laying cardboard out on the floor in the space.
You just become a neek for it. Like, it's crazy. So I was just like, nah, I love this. Like, I need to do more. So I kind of kept it to myself.
I need to test to see how ingrained you got into property. At any point in time, were you like was like Rightmove your bedtime reading? Early morning, first thing in the...
I'd probably go Rightmove more than Instagram at a point. Rightmove and Zoopla. Like, I was just scrolling. You're looking at
when you're scrolling through Rightmove as if it's YouTube or TikTok. That's when you know that.
Cool. Like, I was like, I'm a feed. Like, everything I'm talking, like, bro, everything was just property. So yeah, after I did that, I was just like, all right, cool, I need to do more. So then I saw a video of, unintentionally as well, Patricia Bright.
Oh, okay.
And she was talking about like some of her property investments and stuff. And then I was like, oh, like, this is mad interesting. And then so as I was watching it, I was on the phone, and the person goes to me, check, she's got a video with this guy called Samuel Leeds. And I was like, okay. And then I think the same story as everybody else that finds Samuel Leeds content, I am stuck for like 4 hours watching everything. And I think a few months before I'd gotten onto the property strat lot. So that's the first time I heard about rent to rent.
Yeah.
So now when I'm going through Samuel Lee's content, I'm finding, I think rent to rent was the one that was sticking out to me a lot.
I think for a lot, when I speak to my friends, I see friends that like, they kind of hear what I do. And even though I've done rent to rent, it's not something that I talk about all the time.
Yeah.
But like rent to rent, the concept of, you know, because the main barrier to entry in property is the capital. The money. That's what, as a starting point, you understand that I need a deposit, whether it's 5%, 10% or 25%. In London, that's a lot of money. So when you then realize, okay, you know what, I could potentially make the same money without owning the asset, without putting as much money in, it's like a light bulb moment for a lot of people.
Literally. So I was like, okay, this thing is interesting. But I was like, I'm a person, like when I get interested in something, I need to know everything. So I saw he was doing a crash course. I was like, I'm jumping on this, went, and then I think that day, no word of a lie, I'll say it was life changing because it's like my mind was open to just something I didn't know about. Like literally, I'm finding out about sourcing. I'm finding out about BRRR, flips, so many different things. I'm like, this is mental. So I think at that point, it was like I think a lot of like new investors go through this as well. I wanted everything. Literally, it was like I wanted everything. And then I got to a point I was like, I'm becoming a jack of all trades, master of nothing. So then linking it back to why I got into it, even though I was doing music, then I was kind of like, all right, cool.
You need the cash flow. You need to make sure that you have money coming in.
I want cash flow on the first of the month. I want to know X amount of money is going to drop in my pocket. So what do I want to do? And then it was like, I want high cash flow as well. So I wasn't a fan of, I've never really been a fan of buy to lets. People do them, nothing against them, but just for me, it wasn't it. So I was like, HMOs, that's where I want to like park off. So I kind of devised a plan of, I'm going to start with rent to rent and just build up myself, you know, learn. Because you learn the same things, literally, managing tenants, you know, you might have to do a bit of a refurb here and there, cash flow's high. So like, I'll start with rent to rent, and then as soon as I started the rent to rent stuff, then quickly I was like, oh yeah, like I need to start buying. I think where the buying really came into it was when I came onto Alfred. When I got put onto Alfred. And the thing, Alfred's one is interesting because I actually knew Alfred from before. Like,
it's funny, there's a lot of small worlds in the property circle.
I knew Alfred's cousin.
Yeah.
So Alfred's cousin was a good friend he had introduced me to before. So when I saw Alfred's Instagram, I was like, I remember this was when he was on like his first deal. Yeah. So I was like, wait, I know this guy. I've met this guy. I've met him in Ghana before. Yeah. So I saw what he was doing and I was like, this guy's a genius. I was literally like, this guy's a flipping genius. Like, and like I proper watched his, and I was like, yeah. And then I think shortly after I came onto your stuff and I saw the flips and I was like, but then I'd seen you did the rent to rent stuff. So that's where you started. So it's like, through that I started like seeing everybody. And
I think that's what, you know, because we had this conversation and a lot of people will say, I'll get asked this question really commonly, and I think everybody that does property. I want to get into property, but where do I start? And where do you start is really a pivotal question because that's on you where you start. Like where you starts at looking within yourself of what do you have, what's missing, what can you improve on, what like strengths can you take advantage of, almost like a personal SWOT analysis. And then also what do you actually want out of property? Do you want cash flow? But there's so much information out there, like you just touched on, whether it's myself, Alfred, like Samuel Leeds, whoever it may be, and for the good or the bad, because there's going to be people that are going to give you good advice and bad advice. But that's the same with anything that you consume. If you go on the news, there's going to be some good opinions from some newscasters and some bad opinions 100%. Because everything is subjective. But I think if you can take the time to take as much in as possible and take the good or the stuff that you resonate with out of certain people and to ignore the bad or discard the bad, that is your real starting point.
100%. And I think that's important because even now, in terms of, I'm still a student of the industry, do you know what I'm saying? But
oh bro, me too.
You have to be. You can never stop learning because there's always so much to do.
Brand new series with myself, Kaz from Property by Kazy, bringing together some of the best developers and development projects across the UK.
This is probably my favourite flat because of the challenges.
This property was purchased for approximately 980,000.
So we're now in the hallway of flat number 9.
We should be generating £4,250 per calendar month.
Yeah, we did a full rewire, full replumb, the boiler's over your shoulder, all the copper was gone.
You've got the flip deals, BRRR, ground up construction, new build houses, conversions, office to residential, you name it, we're gonna go and see it. So if you wanna see some of the best developments in the UK, subscribe right now.
Yeah, no, like, I'm just forever like a student of this thing.
I think we all are, man.
Yeah, you can never stop learning, literally. So it's like, now I just try to consume stuff that is directly related to like what I'm trying to do. And obviously I think I even watch property content for like leisure purposes. So it's like, I just want to see what people are doing. Like,
yeah, no, because actually it's your niche. Like in the same way you would watch other artists, you'd watch property content because you're taking, even if, you know, I'm not saying I'm not learning from somebody directly, but I'm taking inspiration from the way in which you do things.
And I love how like a lot of you guys have even changed it yourself, Alfred, the Property Circle guys, Stephen Hamilton. Like, it's very day in the lifey. So it's movies as well, like just showing like the day to day. It's interesting.
That's the thing that else that I like about like the property space as it currently is now. There's a lot more people, like there's younger people, then there's the more experienced lot, but there's people at any step of your journey, there's somebody who's kind of doing 100%. It and documenting it, so you don't feel so alone 100%. When you get an issue with your underwriter saying they've got to do forensic accounting, when you have an issue with getting a down value from a survey, when you have...
You can literally find the answer.
Yeah.
Literally. And it's true, because even like myself, like I put out a walkthrough of like my latest rent to rent I was in, and I was just like, at the I did one for another deal, but I was just like, nah, I don't think I need to drop this. I don't think I'm ready to drop this. Yeah. And then like, we got like a little community. So it's myself, a guy named Ethan, Aaron, Laos, Anton, Ralph, Ethan Hammond, yeah. So we built like we got like a group chat.
Okay, nice.
It's weird. We're all Ghanaian, apart from Laos. He's an anomaly, and like everyone's just at like similar stages. So we just talk to each other, and they were like, "Nah, drop it." Like they were like, "Drop it, drop it, drop it. It looks good." And then immediately I dropped it. I had so many people like, with what you're saying, like, your content is relatable because I'm just like maybe a few steps behind you. So maybe if you were showing me yourself on your like 10th HMO, like that seems so far away.
So far
but it's like, because I can see like you're early on, you're still building what you're building, like it's very relatable. So I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons why I want to get all sorts of different people on this podcast, because it's great. I can sit down and talk to your Anthony Lavilles who are saying they've got 80 million in construction.
Crazy guy.
But if that's what you hear, sometimes it's hearing daunting. Too much can almost be so daunting that it's counterproductive. Very. So then sometimes I want to sit down with a person who's just buying their first residential or hasn't even bought it yet. But the fact that they're doing that right now and actively means that I could potentially even learn more from them, because they're engrossing themselves in that process more than I would, because it's a little bit, I'm further away from it. So there's so much to learn, hopefully for everyone that watches these, that there's something they can pick up. So with securing your first rent-to-rent deal, how did that go? Because I know rent-to-rents, there can be a lot of objection handling.
Yeah. So, do you know what, that deal, I'm someone, I say there's no such thing as a bad deal. If a deal didn't go well, you're supposed to learn something. So I was just eager to get my first deal. And so this was a 6-bedroom HMO in Luton. Funny enough. So it wasn't the hardest of processes, that one. I got that for an agent. I was just searching. And a lot of people asked crazy because this was like in the peak of COVID. But I was just like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to do it. So I went for an agent. They showed me, I think, 3 properties. But that one in particular, at the time I was like, let me take them all. But I was just like, no, let me do one, see how it goes. And now I'm happy I did that, because I would have lost myself. But so I did that. again, I was just so eager. So I'd say I was a victim of, I went in with emotions as opposed to formulas, because I just literally wanted to start.
You wanted to do, and that's something I can't remember who I was speaking to, but it's like, particularly with rent to rent, in the long term, 10 good properties are way better than 50 bad ones.
110%. That's even testament to like what I have now. Like I've gotten rid of some because I'm just like, it's making the business imbalanced. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that property was in Luton. It was a 6-bed. Here's the first error: 6-bed, 1 bathroom. That was the first error. Big error. Big error. And you know, I just didn't really take in how important. And you know what? Doing rent to rent in London is very different to outside London.
Okay.
And I say that because, see, when you do rent to rent in London and have like HMOs in London, the biggest thing is how convenient is this location. So how close is a train station? In London, you have a train station everywhere, whether it's an overground, underground. In Luton, you have one train station, literally. And that property was about a 30-minute walk away from the train station. So it's like, now, if I look at it,
in hindsight, you had a tick box. They just wouldn't have even got past.
And now I say to myself, bro, what the hell was you thinking? 6 people, 1 bathroom, 30 minutes away from a station. It makes no sense. Like, it does not make any sense. So,
but that's the value of, like, firstly, education, understanding. Because if you would have had somebody, like, whether it's an educator, mentor, they would have been able to very quickly say,
like,
nope, because of X, Y, or Z, and then going forward, you could rein in your parameters.
Exactly. So that was the first one. Do you know what? I didn't realize I did a bit of raising for that deal, because it was like, at the time, like, everything was just so COVID. Like, I was on a tour.
And
I had to come
for
home.
people, like, you were like because the whole purpose of your business is to mass bring people together. And COVID is, let's get everyone separated.
Shut us down completely. So it's like, any money I did have, I was very conscious of, like, I don't know how long this is going to go on for. So I need to. So I remember I went to my sister and my boy, and I was like, listen, I'm trying to do this property thing. I got my hands on a property. I need about $4,000. Like, I'll get it back to you. And they're just like, all right, cool. So they gave me the money.
You know, for people that are raising, and I know people that are quite scared to try and raise money sometimes, whether it's 4,000, 40,000, 400,000, people are quite scared. But because, like, there's a lot more understanding of property. If you said, yo, I'm trying to sell these Blackberries, like, you know, people are looking at it like,
bro, what are you talking about?
Or like something, but everybody needs a home. So there's like a heightened level of understanding. You have to work on your pitch and deliver it. And
literally,
when people talk to me about raising funds, I always say,
it's hell, bro.
But I say no, but what I say to them is, would you invest in you?
Yeah.
And if you can't answer why you would invest in you,
facts.
then you're probably not going to raise that money.
And I realized that, and, you know, probably get a chance to go into it, like, what I'm doing now, but it's like, you really need to make yourself an investable person. Like, you just can't spring out of nowhere. And especially in this day and age as well, like, if I'm an investor, I need to look at, okay, show me something.
Because there's 2 types. You're either going to have an investor that's going to invest in you, or an investor that's going to invest in your deal.
Literally.
However, if they're only investing in your deal, they've always got to do the oversight and the due diligence. And in the market that we're in now, a hot deal doesn't last long enough for you to create a spreadsheet and a PDF to send over.
You don't even have 2 hours to do that no more. And I think for me, that's where I'm at. Like, I think all the people that I speak to now, you know, regards to like raising finance and stuff, I've made sure they're kind of people, and I'm fortunate, you know, because of music and stuff, to know like a lot of like cash heavy people. So it's like, I want them to...
Your DMs are about to get flooded.
Boy, I don't have any investments for anyone because I need them for myself right now. But it's like, I realized I wanted to make myself investable. So that's why I was like, do you know what? And you'd be so surprised how the smallest thing gives someone that bit of confidence. Like, literally, something as simple as you snapping yourself on a viewing. Like, someone can be like, oh, like...
You're actually doing it. You're not just talking it.
So, like, I tried to show as much as, like, the good, the bad, like, everything. I tried to show people, like, this is a part of my life now. Do you know what I'm saying? So, it does help with people. But
I think for a lot of people, it's going to be very inspiring for them to see, obviously, that you are doing it alongside a vocation that is a lot of people's dreams. Like to be in music, to be, whether it's music, an artist, to be an athlete, it's a lot of people's dreams. But we're now seeing a lot more people, and from our culture as well, that are not just saying, okay, I just want to do this, but I also want to have my exit strategy. I want to have a plan B.
100%.
I want to have my residual income.
This is my exit.
Yeah.
You know, like I've always known, you see music, it's not forever. Like it has not that it will ever die out, but you have your peak and then it starts to slow down a little bit. So
I feel like you lot have got the long game stuff.
I mean,
though.
yeah.
In comparison
with what we do.
Like, more, microwave music, like your stuff is, like you said, when you compared who you wanted to be, these people are still getting, you know what I mean? When you're talking about the Beatles, the Oasis,
I say
Red Hot
to
Chili
say, like, you
Peppers.
see those guys, they can do nothing for a whole year, come out, do a show.
Don't worry, man, mother. That's what we're working towards.
That's what I'm looking for. Do you know what I'm saying? Come out, get like 500,000, $1 million, and they're gone like
go
for
back
ages.
again into
And then they just come, like there's very few artists that are fortunate to be able to say, I'm gonna dip in and out whenever I want to. And literally, I need some money, let me do a show.
Yeah.
People are gonna come, I can fill up an arena. So with that, like, I mean, God's grace, like, we'll definitely get to that point. But for me, it's like, you never know tomorrow. So I just always want to make sure my back end is covered. Nice. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think do you know what I love about property? Yeah? It's one of those things, you can actually sit down and say, I want to make X amount of money. So this is what I need to do.
This is what I'm going to do.
So this is how many of this I need to get to make this. So it's like, if you know it's $5,000 you need every month to be comfortable, that's literally no word of a lie, 5 good rent to rent deals, and you're good.
Then you can make that.
Or like 2 or 3 HMOs, literally, and you're good. So it's like, that's what I've loved that I've been able to do. So it's like, I see music as my job. So it's like, I want to replace that income with this.
So everything is optional and interchangeable.
And even like in terms of like business, there's so many other things I want to do. So I feel like a lot of people in property are now showing that as well. Like, they built the bread and butter and it's like, okay, cool, I'm now exploring other things.
Because like all investment and business is about risk. But if you can like hedge your risk and mitigate your risk by having a level of income, you can then choose to embark on slightly more riskier ventures going forward.
Definitely.
Because you've got the security of 100%. Like a foundation.
Literally. And I mean, when you're in fields like with property, like when you really think about it, like you've done it correctly. No one's come to take that away from you. Yeah, if you don't overgear, someone always needs somewhere to live. Yeah, always, no matter where. Even if you have it was bad though. The house did get filled. Yeah, it took a while, but it did get filled. But it's just time. But it's testament to people needed somewhere to live. So.
Even if you're a 30-minute walk from the station,
someone will take it.
Because
someone will take it.
There is a market for everything.
Literally for everything.
So what's your what do you, not like short term, like what do you want to achieve in property in the next couple of years?
So yeah, right now, I mean, the focus is just HMOs. So a mixture of rent to rent, and I've just bought a place in Gravesend.
Congrats, good area. A lot of infrastructure investment over there. So prices have
that
gone up a lot.
It's been emotional, should I say? So much has happened, but I think, again, it's a time.
Are we over the line now? Or where are we? Almost.
We was getting there, vendor dies, becomes probate, takes me out for like a year and a half, investors pull out, this, that, that. So many different things have happened.
But then, like you said, for me, I always have this, this feeling that whatever is meant for me is meant for me.
And I do you know, it's weird. I remember going to the viewing for that house, and immediately I got there, I was like, this is the house. I was like, this is the house. I don't know why, this is the house. And it was weird because there was like 35 people viewing the house, long queue, and I'm seeing some guys, they come in their builders, they come in their suits, and I was like, I'm really coming to compete against these people. And what was so funny, even when I got there, they tick your names off. The estate agent was like, what's your name? I said, Steven. He's like, you've been here already? I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, yeah, you have. You came to
someone used your name.
Someone used my name. And I was just like, what the hell? I was like, what's going on? And I was like,
people are taking like it's departure lounge.
And then he was literally like, but it's fine, you come through. So, and I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna, I done the viewing and I submitted the offer, and I was just like, whatever happens at this point. And then the agent calls me back and she's like, oh, like, you've actually got the best offer for the, and I was like, really? And I was like, and she's like, yeah. And then she's like, could you push, she said, would you be willing to go like an extra $5,000 And I just looked at the numbers. I was like, $5,000 isn't going to kill this deal. Even if I lose $5,000, it's fine. Like, I can live with that. So I was like, yeah. Then she's like, okay, yeah, your offer's been accepted. So we start doing everything, all the conveyancing, all of that. The vendor dies, and I'm just like, and then they're like, we don't know how long this is going to take. So then this year, like maybe like March, early March, late Feb, early March, I get a call, and then they're like, yeah, like the family agreed to still sell you the house. So are you still interested? And I call my solicitor, and he's like, this is perfect because you've waited for so long, you kind of have the advantage, and now like you can renegotiate the price and all of these. The value would have probably changed a little bit because it's gone worse. And so I was like, yeah. So yeah, HMOs, just acquiring. So how I kind of split the business, all my rent-to-rent stuff is London, and in terms of purchasing, like I go to like the Kent areas, Gravesend,
home counties, just around, yeah.
Lower prices. So and more so because, like you said, infrastructure in Kent, you've got like 3 universities as well. So you know that's where the focus is for that. So yeah, I think for now it's just building that, because I've gone through phases of the business, and I'm now like, okay, this is what I want to do. So got rid of some of the HMOs because they weren't performing as well. You know, currently even tying up like another 2 at the moment. So just building that. I think I'm gonna stay there for about 2 years, like on this. And then from there, I do want to go into like commercial to residential kind of stuff. Do that for a bit, and then just see what happens. I think you get to a point where you're just having fun with it.
Yeah, no, that's it. You see where it goes, and you follow the passions and follow the money, and a combination of both, and just do what works for you. But I think that's obviously testament to the fact that for those that make the excuse that I don't have enough time, or I don't have the availability, or I don't have the expertise, you started, you know, whilst having a busy and thriving career.
And it's hard, man.
And you didn't necessarily even, let alone the understanding, you weren't even aware of a lot of the potential property strategies, and have now built a business that's growing. We've got the new series, the development tour series that starts. It would have started by the time this is out, so you can go and check that out. But hopefully, when you exchange, when you're completed, we'll come down, come and see, we'll come and do some progress.
I want all the footage. Like, I need everyone to see what's going on.
We're coming, don't worry.
I need to build this profile.
Exactly, now it's coming. Well, with that in mind, for everyone that's watching this, whether they're watching on Apple Music, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, where can people find you?
So I'm everywhere. Everywhere. Instagram,
give us
Twitter.
the full, because they might not have the at, so give us the full at.
All handles, there's only one of me, no counterfeits yet. So DRUMMERBOYSJ, so Drummerboy SJ on everything. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so that's Stephen Asamoah-Duah, so Stephen with a PH, ASAMOAH-DUAH. So all the professionals that like to invest money, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Well, there you go, that's it.
And then all the non-professionals that want to invest as well, Instagram's there, Twitter's there. So yeah, I'm everywhere. You know, YouTube as well, started dropping, you know, property content on YouTube as well, hoping to drop a lot more, even just like Q&As, because I get a lot of questions now from, you said, from people that are just kind of like, how the hell are you doing?
How did you do everything? How did you find the balance? How did you start out? Where did you go?
Exactly.
And I think that's good. So I'm sure we're going to link up and do some more stuff.
Definitely,
I'm going to make sure that I get all of the details in the description below. All the good stuff that we always say, you know, like, subscribe, notifications on. But before we let you go, we're going to ask you that question that everybody asks you. It's the favorite question, but we're going to compile them all. So we've got this perfect answer to this question at some point. So the typical question is, you know, 18, 19, 20, or I could be older, but I don't know where to start out and I want to get into property. What tips would you have for them?
Take your time. That's definitely the first one. Take your time, educate yourself, find a mentor. I'd say find a mentor, as well as find people your age group at similar stages, and kind of build a little hub that you guys can talk to each other. I think that's helped me so much. Like, and shout out to those guys, man. They're literally like we actually met through property, but they are literally my brothers. Like, we was all in Ghana together, losing our heads.
No, that's good. I see. Like, you know, because I see that group and I know exactly who you're talking about. So, good guys. I speak to them.
It helps a lot because everyone is doing different things. So it's like some questions that you would come and DM you know, yourself, myself, whoever, you could literally ask one of your guys and they could literally give you the answer like that, free of charge, because they're your friend. Do you know what I'm saying? So definitely build a community.
We're saying, you know what I mean, take your time.
Take your time.
Get yourself educated.
Yep.
Consume all the content. And then network with people to build a circle of people that are doing the same type of things
Almost
that
like
you
a
can
little
hold
support,
yourself
a support,
accountable,
yes.
bounce off, and a sounding board. Because I think a sounding board of somebody for ideas, sometimes you've got the idea.
Yeah.
You just need somebody to tell you that's right.
Exactly.
And that's
it. True, because I remember one time I had Aaron, I was asleep. And I had Aaron call me. I was in bed. He was like at his workspace. What's going on? Tell me what's going on. Like, how we building? I was like, okay, okay, I'm working on it, and you know, through that, it just keeps you in check, man. That's literally. Good. So it's very good to have that as a young person in property as well. Definitely.
That's good. Well, we'll definitely be doing something again very soon. Stephen, I appreciate having you on.
Thank you for having me, man. Absolute honor, bro.
Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week with another episode.
Sweet.